I'm a Michigan constitutional crusader, rising up when the world goes cold. No badge can bring me, no chains can take me. Truth in my veins, a fire and bold. To fire and bold.
Okay, 6:30, we call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mike Coddington.
Here.
Sue Doss. Here. Jonathan Hohenstein.
Here.
Matt Counts.
Here.
Tim Bull.
Here.
Shane Fagan.
Here.
Bob Wilson.
Here. Please join me in pledge to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to the board. Any additions or subtractions to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Second. Motion by Count, second by Fagan. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of November 10th.
I'll make the motion to accept the board minutes from November 10th.
Support. Motion by Doss, second by Hohenstein. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. There is no public hearing, but we were just going to scratch this completely, but we were told by the attorney it was better that we make a motion accepting the withdrawal. So, if somebody wanted to make a motion to accept the withdrawal.
I move to accept the withdrawal of the rezoning application from Randy LLC in Santa.
Support.
Motion by Hohenstein, seconded by Doss. Discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so because of this withdrawal from a rezoning perspective, that means that there's no more movement forward on this project at this point.
That fell down.
Correct.
Not touch it.
They would have to reapply to start the process over.
They would have to start the process over.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
in the interest of transparency for everybody here, can we describe how this motion to remove this from the agenda occurred?
I'm sorry?
Could we get some clarification on why this was removed from the agenda, or how this happened, I guess I should say?
Do you want a
Especially
complete
at such a-
timeline, or just that it was a request from the applicant to remove it? No, complete
Pardon me?
You want a complete timeline, or?
Well, just from last week it was on it, and obviously yesterday it was started to be removed, and today was.
Received a call December 5th at 4:38. I missed that. I got a voicemail. 5:04, I received another voicemail asking or saying that they wanted to pull back or remove their application for rezoning. December 6th, I left a voicemail for the developer. December 6th at 7 o'clock, sent a text to the developer to get clarification that they were truly pulling their request and needed written documentation for it. December 7th, text with a township attorney to confirm if any written request had been received from his office, and he replied with a call that was scheduled for 12 o'clock that afternoon with the developer's attorney. So just a couple more phone calls, but as of December 7th, the township attorney received an email with the full withdrawal of the rezoning. Township treasurer at 4:30 on the 7th sent out that the email to all the board members that the applicant had pulled their request. December 8th, developer attorney sent an email asking that definition be pulled also. So that was today.
Very detailed, thank you.
All right, I figured it was going to be asked, so I took the time.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Wilson.
Yes.
Counts.
Yes.
Bull.
Yes.
Doss. Yes. Fagan,
Yes.
Hohenstein,
Yes.
Addington,
Yes. Okay, call to the public, just for your information, we gotta do the same thing with number 8. So we gotta make a motion for that, but just, I don't know if anybody's gonna get up and do a call to the public for that, but it's gonna be basically the same situation. So, I guess any other discussion for the board before we open the call to the public? Questions, concerns, thoughts?
Mr. Supervisor, should we move agenda item 8 up to right now prior to call to the public? If we anticipate doing the same thing, accepting the withdrawal?
We could, but I didn't really want to change the schedule, or to change the agenda anytime. I mean, there's been so many moving parts today, the last thing I wanted to do is move this agenda around. So, I guess if there's a
understand that.
consensus to do that, I'm fine with that. You know, we could go to 8 and then move to a call to the public. But not hearing any boos that we're doing that, so,
I'll make that motion. Deviate to item 8 on the agenda and then, call to the public. I have item 8. Yeah. Yeah, I think you don't have the call to the board at the top, right?
okay? So, you got a motion to deviate, okay? And is there support?
Support.
Okay, motion is supported. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Number 8, Santex Consulting. Looking for a motion to accept their withdrawal on the text or amendment.
I'll make the motion to accept the withdrawal of the text amendment from Randy LLC and Stantec.
Second. Motion by Hohenstein, second by Fagan. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Fagan,
Yes.
Bolt,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Counts,
Yes.
Hohenstein,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Paddington,
Yes. Okay, motion passes. So now, any discussion from the board?
I just realized it. I'm just so you guys can
I guess my only thing that I'd like to go through is, if Jonathan, you could go through what the process would look like if they wanted to reapply. What would the process, you know, it's gonna be the normal process, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You wanna go through that real quick? That might just answer a couple of people's questions before we get too far.
So I mean, the process is the same for any rezoning application. So they file their application, it goes to the Township Planning Commission, goes to the County Planning Commission, comes to the Township Board. If they were to reapply or anyone else were to apply, those same rules would be followed.
Okay. All right, if nobody else has anything else, we'll move to call to the public.
Just for clarity, Mr. Supervisor, to hit on the subject of the moratorium in contrast with that situation, although an applicant could apply for rezoning a piece of property, if there was an applicant that wanted to try to apply for the same use in a different zone, the moratorium would stop that for any applicant, correct?
Not for the rezoning.
Right, not for the rezoning. If an applicant were to apply for such as a site plan or a conditional
That would
use,
stop, correct.
that would stop because of the moratorium for this applicant and any other applicant, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Chair?
yes.
Just theoretically, if this applicant came back in February and applied for rezoning, could that occur?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
but again, I mean, the rezoning would be the only thing.
Correct. It would just
Everything
be a
else would still be
rezoning.
working on the ordinance, so.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll open up the call to the public. We're gonna limit it to 2 minutes again, just to keep things moving along. Just ask that you remain respectful, civil. I know motions are a little high, really bright light. please keep the remarks coming up to the board here, to the chair, and then we can direct them from there if we need to. And other than that, I guess I would direct the board members to keep track of some of the questions that you hear that we're not answering. And what I would like to do is kind of have a list of those, and maybe we can do a Q&A type response on the website to answer some of the outstanding questions that we can't answer here. So,
That would be wonderful.
all right. Can't see the thing, so if there's somebody there, go ahead.
Michelle Pachita, Warner Road, Howell Township. Sorry. I do have a question, and I'm hoping that you can answer it on the website, because I do not understand or know the process for the master plan. But I know that the master plan is up for review in 2026. I don't know if that question goes to you guys or the planning commission, because I don't understand the process at all. So I was hoping you guys can maybe share, maybe on the website, and outline the process for the master plan and how we as a community can be involved in making sure that that master plan is written to support what we want as a community, and not what the developer wants. Because I know that this property that is currently agricultural preservation in our current master plan is not agricultural at all on the current proposed master plan for 2026. And an applicant applies for rezoning once the master plan is changed, it would fall in line with the new master plan. So I just want to make sure that we all know that, and we'd like to know how we can, as a community, give our input for how the new master plan is written. It's labeled secondary growth. I don't know what that is, so maybe we could also list what secondary growth is when we explain the master plan process. And then just one more thing, Livingston County is the highest average median income in the state. We are the highest median income for a reason. People choose to live here, we want to live here. We're not afraid to commute. And if our community changes, so will the residents. We'll go find it someplace else. Your median income will drop, your property values will drop, and so will your tax base. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeannie Moak, and I live in Livingston County in a neighboring area that will be affected by this proposed project. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My statement was written last night before these changes, but I think they still apply in case this gets kicked down the road, the can gets kicked down the road. So I wanted to be here because I haven't had a chance to share my voice on the issue until now. I felt it was important to speak before any final vote is made. Decisions like this have long-term consequences, and it matters that the residents can put their concerns on the public record. I strongly oppose the rezoning request for the data center, even though it may not be my backyard and the impacts reach across township lines, and it will affect our shared water, our energy systems, the environment, and the long-term future for our region. The data center is a part of a system where powerful tech corporations collect and profit from massive amounts of personal data. There's very little transparency, oversight, or regulation. Giving so much control to a few CEOs and their companies is dangerous and doesn't serve everyday people. The environmental risks are serious, and these centers need huge amounts of water and electricity. That puts pressure on our water table and shared aquifers. And what about runoff concerns? Many families here rely on private wells and clean water. If these systems are stressed or damaged or have any negative impacts on the environment, it's the local residents who suffer, not the oligarchs. I'm also worried about farmland and soil health. These lands could be used for regenerative agriculture and restore soils, protect water, and capture carbon and help our planet. Instead, this project would replace living, productive land with permanent industrial use. Once soil is altered, that loss can't easily be undone. This project benefits corporate growth over centralized power, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I ask permission to jump ahead. Thank you very much for letting me do this. I appreciate it. I haven't spoken before, so I ask that you give me a little bit of grace on the 2 minutes. I do speak quickly, so I have timed this, and I'm right at 2 minutes. My husband and I live at 4139 Hogback Road in Fowlerville, Handy Township. We are 1/2 of a mile from the southwest corner of the identified property. In addition, we sit where Grand River might just be rerouted. It will be my front yard now. I am a retired Howell teacher. My husband is a retired systems analyst for electronic data systems, Hewlett Packard, and most recently Vertafore, driving from Howell and Fowlerville to Lansing for his early career. We attend church here, and I have served on the Fowlerville District Library Board. Our daughter is a Fowlerville and a Saginaw Valley grad working for Hanover and Howell. Our son-in-law is employed in Howell through Nike. They bought their first home in Howell and have a 6-month-old baby. We have been in this area for 45 years. We vote in every election placed before us. We always vote in favor of roads, ambulance, fire, schools, library funding. We are invested in this community. In conversations with other affected families, I have heard about people driving 60 miles opposite directions to live in this area, individuals providing small parts of their own land to allow their adult children to stay in the county, making decisions based on the community that they support. This is an expensive county for young adults to live in. In late September, we learned about the plans for the data center. One of our major concerns is what this development would do to this area, specifically Howell-Fowlerville. Because of our location, there are major decisions being made without anyone directly representing Handy Township. That is frustrating. We do not believe a data center fits with the county plan for development. I don't tell people that I live in Fowlerville or Howell, I tell them I live in Livingston County. Last paragraph. Further, we have been frustrated by the NDAs signed by individuals in leadership positions. These should always be a red flag. Individuals representing us and making decisions on our behalf are not even able to talk to us. In what world does that make sense to any of you? During this process, I have met some incredibly very educated individuals who are out here in this audience with backgrounds in the very fields of data center realities. Wouldn't you benefit from their knowledge on this topic as you move towards making decisions regarding rezoning and what fits for our county? An NDA limits your ability to gather information, seek out all resources, and being transparent. We are pleased with the development over the last 24 hours. We know this is not a done deal. Your lack of transparency during this process has made it hard to anticipate what these recent developments might mean. We ask that from this point forward, you practice open and honest communication with the community. Lastly, we ask that you reject the developer's requested definition of data processing as a text amendment. Thank you.
Dan Wallahan again, Fowlerville. I'm glad to see the application being withdrawn, and thank you for voting to approve the withdrawal. I hope it doesn't come back. In the meantime, I hope that everyone here learns from the past few months what happened to avoid being in this type of situation. I think we need to keep this county rural, follow our current master plan, not change things up to make it an urbanized county like some of the others, or urbanized township, County 2. And we'll all be watching that. Beyond that, I've been in this county lifelong, 46 years, almost 47. I could live anywhere in the state. Work takes me all over the place. I choose to stay in Livingston County because I want to continue to live in a rural community. And every decision we made in this county should go and reflect our citizens of our county in our rural community. And I like to keep it that way. And you may be feeling pressure from attorneys. I'm one as well. Don't always listen to what your township council has to say. Don't be intimidated by the developer's attorney, Dickinson Wright. They're beatable in a lawsuit if it comes to that. I've done it, you all can do it too.
Hello, my name's Don Lee Chevalier. I live at 2900 Brewer Road in the township. Okay. The thing I would hope that everyone up there does is don't vote on the actual turning it into a developmental stage. Why not put everything on a 6-month pause? Everything. Don't even vote up or down on whether you want to make it a data center, well, land use for them. Because once you do that, they can come back and resubmit, because then they've already got them indoors. So put everything on a pause. And what I would like to see, it doesn't just affect Howell Township, it affects Livingston County entirely. So it should be put to the vote by the people. They say that you have to have 1,000 or 900 residents in the township to have it switched over, so it could be voted on. Why would you, 900 people, if you could get that many to do it, be the magic number for the whole Livingston County? There's a lot of people. There's only 4,000 voters, 4,100 in the township that can vote. Maybe 4,200, but not that many come out to do the voting when it's for elected officials. I think if this goes, what I would say, south, you may get a lot more people coming out to vote, but it might be for other people to sit on the board rather than the current board, depending on how you vote. Let's face it, 7 people determining the outcome for all of Livingston County. You're gonna take Grand River, they're gonna do all this really cool stuff. Who's gonna end up hurting? Everybody, not just the township. That's all. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Favril Armstrong. I'm 21 years old, and I grew up less than 10 minutes away from the proposed site of the data center. I'm finishing up my bachelor's degree in sustainable and regenerative agriculture, focusing on food systems within communities. My family's land is encompassed by the Van Gilders fields, and I can remember from a young age going out to greet the men driving the combines. While I'm not a supporter of industrial scale agriculture, I do respect the people trying to make a living in farming to support their families, which is not a secure or easy livelihood. It is full of hardship, unpredictability, debt, and at times death. If you weren't sure of the statistic, 84.5 per 100,000 farmers in Michigan alone commit suicide due to financial reasons. So I can begin to understand why someone can consider selling out. What I cannot wrap my head around is why a facility such as this one is even being considered to be built in our community. The ramifications of this facility outweigh any proposed positive outcomes. The land, natural resources, ecology, and community are all at risk if this data center is built in our backyards. Farmers are the backbone of our communities. Farmers steward the land to not only put food on their families' plates, but the plates of Americans all over the country. I am part of the generation that has to set the record straight for our society and right the wrongs of our parents and grandparents. What kind of legacy are you leaving for future generations when they drive through Fowlerville in 10 to 30 years and all they see is a wasteland, not vast, bountiful fields that we all come familiar to? Do not solely base your decisions on who is here in this room right now, but who can be living in this community 30 to 50 years. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Angela Barbash. I'm at 4211 Crandall. I'm 2 miles from the site, the original proposed site. I want you to know that we have the township's back. All of us in this room have the township's back. And this is especially important right now because federal, state, and corporate pressures are going to continue. We've seen the news that came out today about an impending executive order that may take state control away, and that's just going to continue to come down at the local level. We need our elected representatives, you all, our state and our federal elected representatives, to have our backs. And in particular, that means trusting us, trusting the collective wisdom of this room. We have proven ourselves to be deep researchers, to be well organized, and to be broadly connected to resources. And that's because you all and everyone in this room that came before me built Livingston County to be a destination of intelligent people. So we're here with you. And I want you to know, and so many people in this room want you to know, that no matter what happens, as corporate interests, as the state, as the feds come in and try to push around what's happening in this community, that we are going to stand with you. We are. We're not going to back down. I also want to especially thank Tim. Tim, you have been the exemplary for me of an elected representative throughout this process. You have... I'm saying this because it's not grand gestures that you've made. You haven't grandstanded. You haven't been super vocal about this needs to be a yes or this needs to be a no, but you've been accessible. You've been open to a conversation or to comments here or there. And I think most of all that this is really what we're looking for from all of you, is to have a conversation. I understand that it can't be in this forum where we have, call to the public and you can't respond. But as this continues and these proposals keep crossing your desk, whether it's a data center or crypto mining or battery storage or wind farms or solar or whatever it is that's going to change our community, what I would ask, and I think everyone in this room would, is that we have open conversations in town halls. We have the ability to have a conversation together and collect all this wisdom together. So we're with you. We're asking you to continue to fight for our ability to maintain the rural character of this community and to do what's right for us. And I'm asking you to please vote no as these proposals continue to crush your desk. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Arnold Cordell, 3620 Allen Road, and you've all heard a million reasons why. I could give you another million reasons why, and take up an hour of everybody's time. But what I'd like to do is put a motion on the floor to have permanent banning of any data centers in the township. So, and would someone please second that motion?
I second it.
Okay, well, if you follow Robert's Rules of Orders, you need to respond on this.
Facts.
Now, you need to vote on it. Motion's on the floor. It's been seconded. So we'd like to hear from you.
Let's go.
Well, let me say this to the public then out here, seeing you don't want to respond or do anything, is that these people can be removed at any moment. You don't have to wait for election time. There's rules.
Yep.
Every one of these people can be removed immediately and replaced. If you don't believe me, if they follow Robert's Rules of Orders or whatever order they follow, you can buy a book and you can look it up. Obviously, most of these guys, I don't know if they can even read because they're not following the laws. You know, there's a motion on the floor, gentlemen and ladies. What do you say?
you can't do that.
You can do that. They can respond.
All right,
There's a motion on the floor.
sir, keep the comments up here and keep quiet out there, okay? Thank you.
Okay. Well, why can't you respond?
I'm sorry?
Why can't you respond?
Because that's how we run the meeting. We
Okay.
would be here all night if we answered every single question, and here I am answering your questions. So
Okay.
now
Well,
all
fine.
these folks back here are gonna expect me to answer their questions.
Tell me the proper forum to put a motion on the floor. That's all I'm asking.
No, time's up, sorry.
My time's not up. I just made
protected activity.
You hear me? Cut off the mic. But that's fine. I think you're giving everybody a reason here to get you got off.
Sir.
She yielded her time.
No,
Sir.
That is against the law also, is timing.
Yeah.
No, it's
If
not.
you know anything about anything, you know that's the thing. I
Please,
asked you a simple
we
question.
don't need to do this. Can
I
you-
asked you a simple question.
And we stated from the beginning we weren't going to do that. Please, just move on, and we'll.
We want. No. I'm telling you, I'm asking you, what's the proper forum? to put a
You can
motion
call me
on the
tomorrow,
floor?
and we can talk about it all day long.
No, because everybody's here. We want to get everybody back
Sir,
together.
I'm gonna have the deputy come down and take you out. If
That's fine. Let's put it on TV too.
Make sure you ask, is it under 3
you don't wanna do this, sir.
It's really hard to get here. Let us have a chance to talk. It's not all about you. It's not right time.
So,
Home tomorrow.
that's fine. We will try to come to the next meeting and maybe we have some rule changes and or that's all there is to it. Also.
Done with him having a real battle road, still figuring out about it. Done with it. Right. That's what I'm saying. I'll just catch my eyes. Wait.
Good evening. I came here from the Lansing area. My name is Nicole Kiway Biber. I'm a tribal citizen of Little Traverse Bay Bands of Iowa. Really appreciate everyone in this room, folks who've talked so far. I wanted to particularly uplift the young woman who talked about regenerative agriculture, and that's the possibilities we can see in the future for lands like this. I've seen some comments that say, oh, well, it's just agricultural land. It's going to be this or some other development. That's not true. It does not have to be that way. These aren't our only choices. We don't have to buy the narrative of huge tech billionaires saying we need AI. We don't need AI. We need water. We need food. We need homelands we recognize and love. And you all are in the position to support your community. That's a wonderful place to be in, and that's frankly all we've got left. They want to take that power for us to come face to face and make decisions that are good for all of us away from us. And this is our chance to say, we're not going to let that happen. There's 18 of these developments proposed across our state. They're here because of our water. They're here because they think they can push all the communities around. But guess what? We can have a different future. We can be the ones who envision what it looks like 30 or 50 years from now, and it's not going to be a wasteland. It's going to be a place where food grows to feed our communities. It's going to be a place where the rivers run clean again. It's going to be a place where the geese fly again in large flocks throughout the sky because we chose restoration and not more destruction. French.
Hi, my name is Lisa Jevons, and I live in Washtenaw County, where we have 4 data centers in process right now. But I grew up here in Livingston County. I'm also a volunteer with Michiganders for Money Out of Politics. This is the ballot initiative campaign. You might have seen us at the door. And it strikes at the heart of how Michigan became a hotspot of the exploitation by data centers in the first place. One of the main reasons is the outsized political influence of regulated for-profit corporate utilities such as DTE and Consumers Energy. They pour millions of dollars into Michigan politics every year. They contribute to state candidates on both sides of the aisle, right on up to the governor. DTE strongly supported the tax breaks for data centers, seeing it as a boon to their own energy sales, which opened the Pandora's box of data centers this year. Regulated utilities of Michigan stand to gain as much or more from new data centers as the big tech companies do. That's because no matter who the tenant of the data center is, DTE will be the one powering it. Meta still has to pay its DTE bill, just like the rest of us do, and those bills are going to be astronomical. The Saline Data Center by me alone will use enough energy to power more than 1 million homes. Our ballot initiative will completely stop the flow of money from regulated utilities like DTE into Michigan politics. It would break the cycle of them buying and choosing the politicians who regulate them. It would force our state politicians to start answering to us, the communities they represent, and stop catering to corporate elite. I invite everyone here tonight to sign the petition after the meeting to get this campaign finance law on the ballot in Michigan for 2026.
Hello, my name is Sarah Slzinski at 5346 North Lassen, neighboring Osceola Township. And one thing I've noticed during all these meetings on the data center in recent months is that everyone's very proud to live here. Whether you've grown up here and chosen not to leave, or you've chosen to relocate here. I chose to move my family here over 10 years ago. We came from an area in Wayne County that had plenty of pollution. There was tons of fumes from industrial, from manufacturing, from diesel generators. There was constant noise because of the airport. And we chose, once our kids were getting ready to start school, that we would move. We wanted space for a garden and ended up with a historic farm that came with cows. Now they're thriving. We raised meat for all of our family and friends, and I can't imagine raising my kids anywhere else. If a data center at this scale is built, this will no longer be a place that people choose to locate to. Just like where I came from, you're either stuck there, or if you could afford to, you would move. As somebody else mentioned, as jobs, we have a high income here, and if it becomes the area people don't want to be, they will take their income and their property taxes somewhere else. I choose to live here, and I choose that over driving. I drive 60 miles to Detroit every day for work because it's worth it to raise my kids here. So as this project picks back up, I implore you to stick with the vast majority of residents of this community and the communities around and fight for keeping this community what it is. As the developer fights back, you have the support of all of these people and everyone across the state to keep things how they are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie Booth. I own 2 properties in the city of Howell. I wrote down some talking points. Our big red flag, first off for me, was the GOP chair really trying to push this through, going on a tour with someone from Howell Township to an Ohio facility, and just not a lot of research or insight into how it affects people. Not one politician that many probably voted for in this county has spoken out against it. Well, maybe a few, but I have not heard anything from our main representatives, and that to me is very concerning and very telling. So we ought to pay careful attention to the people that say nothing and are rather silently complicit in getting this pushed through faster than anything you could imagine. Don't bend the knee to oligarchs, the technocrats, the people that are going to use this to try to shape our world in a negative way. It already has. It's also no coincidence that, let's say, the commissioner meeting is today, the City of Howell meeting is today. So obviously they can't be here and put their input, and citizens that have other issues going on in their own township or countywide, they can't be here either because they have to be at those meetings. I kind of wonder why they're all scheduled on the same day. So that needs careful attention. Thank you.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Real interesting, ain't it?
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Staten. I am a township supervisor from Genesee County. I thank God my meeting was this morning at 10 a.m. so I could be here today to support another community faced with another tragedy coming into their development. I gotta ask you all, when you ran for your office, what was your principle that you ran on? Wasn't it supposed to be to protect the people, to protect your community, to protect the way of life that has been established for years in your community? I gotta tell you, this room is full of a lot of people, and these people will leave here tonight, and if every single person goes home and talks to 10 people they know, and those 10 people talk to 10 people they know, I think they probably could recall all of you. You only have to have 1 year in your office before they can be recalled. The language is very clear. You can be recalled for almost anything. You could be recalled because you have a pink shirt on. You can be recalled because you have a blue shirt on, as long as it's factual. So I have to ask your board once again, what did you run on? If you weren't going to protect your community and protect your people and do what's right for the environment, not for just today, but for substantial amounts of time. I gotta emphasize to you, the jobs that would come from an AI center are minimal. So what's the use of it?
Is the township supervisor from London Township. And we were just at her meeting this morning.
They're trying to recall her because they're a bunch of fuckers.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chuck Smith. I live at 5136 Fleming Road. It's approximately 2,500 feet from the northeast corner of the Van Gilbert property. Please make no mistake about the purpose of tonight's meeting and a 6-month moratorium on this and all other data centers that may be considered. This isn't just about the township deciding on a yes or no vote about whether or not to allow the rezoning of 1,000 acres of the Van Gilbert's farmland into research and technology so they can turn around and sell it and make tens of millions of dollars. It's also not just about allowing big money AI billionaire corporations to purchase that 1,000 acres of beautiful farmland from the Van Gilberts for a very generous offer and above the actual value of the farmland, so they can build their first in a series of 5 or 6 of these environmental atrocities, depending on which one of the site plans you looked at. We've got a situation where it's going to take approximately 18 months from what I've read to build each one of those, and that's too long. I will not put up with those people tearing up that property for the next 6 to 8 years, 2,500 feet from my house. Please, 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 okay? I love you guys. I've been working with this to make this happen. Please, Don't let that happen. We've got next page. Sometimes I just can't get off. Okay, a data center is not just one building, it's a campus, like this one here at Howell High School. Spread across a very large area with buildings of different sizes and shapes. Each one will house a monstrous server building that will have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of computer servers in it. And we've got, that was kind of quick. I'll be back.
Hi, good evening. Vanessa North, 2950 West Maw Road. I will not waste everybody's time telling you why I don't want a data center here. I think at this point, we are at least all in agreement that the pros do not outweigh the cons. So let's talk about moving forward. Okay, with the current request being withdrawn, I can talk. I respectfully request of this board that they carefully draft language during this moratorium that sets guidelines for new and resubmitted, do not exclude the one that was just withdrawn tonight, but for new and resubmitted proposals have strict regulations on allowable utility consumption and utilization of green energy resources. If the new language makes it nearly impossible for a new data center to be built, you have done your job. My only other thing is that it seemed abundantly clear in our last meeting with the lawyer that either he didn't understand our request for a moratorium or he was possibly swayed by other factors to purposely exclude the current proposal in question in the language of the moratorium. I request that the board re-examine the relationship and contract with this firm and potentially explore other firms that may be better qualified to serve this community. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Petrie, and I live in Livingston County, right over in Tyrone, so one of your neighbors. Residents across the political spectrum are frustrated at the lack of transparency by these corporations and by our representation. These centers come in for these tax benefits, and they are choosing rural areas where they think residents won't push back because they won't understand what a mega site will mean to our community. When representation is unable to be transparent, we find answers ourselves. Last week, the community organized to hear from experts because Livingston County residents won't sit idly by and let things happen to our county or townships without our input. These sites only create about 20 long-term jobs, and residents are concerned about the environment, about the local economy, and not what benefits Livingston County can offer the billionaire corporations and what will line the pockets of big utility companies, but what these corporations, companies, and representation can do for our community, and how we can ensure that corporations who come in are held to regulations that ensure that we are not the next Flint. You can get settlements, you can issue fines, but when lives are changed because there wasn't necessary regulation, no money can undo that damage.
Facts.
Thank you.
Great. All right, Anthony's the next one, guys. My bad.
My name's Paula Murphy. I'm from Brighton Township, and I'm giving my 2 minutes to give it to Anthony Hudson.
Okay, so he's got 4 total. Right on. Let's go.
Thank you, Paula. Members of the board, I'd like to introduce you to your employer. We the people behind me. Say hello. My name is Anthony Hudson, and I am a gubernatorial candidate, and I'm not here to negotiate. I'm here to draw a line in the dirt and dare you to cross it. No data centers in Michigan. Not one. Not in Livingston County. Not in Washtenaw. Not in the UP. not anywhere. This is a hard, non-negotiable, burn the bridges, no. You've been wined and dined by out-of-state billionaires who flew in on private jets to tell you how many jobs they're going to create. 50. 50 permanent jobs. For facilities that will suck our aquifers dry, jack our electric bills into the stratosphere, and turn our quiet towns into 24/7 humming industrial wasteland. That's not a deal. That's a stick-up. 4 to 5 million gallons of water a day, every day, gone. While our wells run dry and our farmers watch crops die, these tech parasites cool servers so some Silicon Valley hedge fund can make fake money faster. Our water is not your coolant and Michigan is not your radiator.
Preach.
The grid already on life support. They want 500, 700, 1,000 megawatts yesterday. That means new gas plants, new transmission towers marching across our farmland like in an invading army and decades of higher DTE bills so Amazon and Microsoft can get richer. We pay, they profit.
That's only 2 minutes.
He resets 2 minutes. That was.
Thank you. That's not development, that's extraction. And don't give me that green energy fairy tale. These same companies are begging for emergency fossil fuel exemption behind closed doors while they smile for your cameras. We see the memos, we're not stupid. Approve one and the floodgates open. Every county becomes a target. Every cornfield becomes a concrete box. Every night sky gets drowned in light pollution. This is how rural Michigan dies. Slice by slice until there's nothing left but server farms and regret. The people have roared. Thousands of signatures, standing room only hearings, signs on every damn road from here to Mackinac Bridge, and they're not asking, they're telling you to kill these projects dead. So here's your choice tonight. You side with the people who live here, pay taxes, raise families here, or side with the faceless corporations that will strip mine our state and leave us footing the bill. There's no middle ground. There's no such thing as a responsible data center. There's only yes or no. Say yes and we will remember every single name on this diocese when election season comes. We will make every one of you famous for the wrong reasons. Say no, and you go down in history as the board that finally grew a set of balls and told big tech, get the hell out.
Right on! That's on the governor, baby!
The choice is yours, so choose wisely. No data centers in Michigan. A complete stop. Thank you.
Look at his heart's just going crazy.
Hello, my name is Andrew Pavlik. I'm a Livingston County resident as well. I don't know how I'm supposed to go after that speech, but I'm not here to get anybody riled up.
Don't feel bad.
One major consideration, I would love everybody in the audience to do some research when I bring this stuff up. None of us obviously want it, that's why we're here. Nobody wants to see the agriculture ruined. Nobody wants to see the water go to waste. However, very little research has been done about the data center and the security implications it may face. What happens in a basic denial of service? A bunch of computers attack a single IP. Drown out services cause problems. Like I brought up before, if it's bad enough, you can't use your credit card to get gas. Emergency systems don't function in the hospital. Do we really want that so close to our home? A huge target in Livingston County. What happens with an insider threat? Everybody here has an idea, or at least a thought, of the data that we're submitting voluntarily being sold and being stolen on a weekly basis. Data breaches happen every week. Most companies are required to make a legal announcement. Usually it's about a paragraph long, posted somewhere on the website, and that's it. What happens to the general public, again, when something happens and their data is stolen? What happens with an insider threat? What happens with a physical threat? All this, I haven't seen many posts about, I haven't seen much on Facebook about it, but it needs to be highly considered and researched, having a target in Livingston County. The technology that the board members have on their desk is enough to shut down the school. The technology I have on my phone is enough to shut down and take the power out of the school. Enough attacks happen, the power's gonna go out for the county, brownout, etc. It needs to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emma Sova. I live here in Howell, and I got here a bit late, so I'm sorry if I repeat anything that was already said. Many huge companies that run a good chunk of the U.S. economy, like Apple, Meta, and Microsoft, are already investing a ton in AI, using tech items sold by a company called NVIDIA. Despite all the money they're pumping in, they're getting very little revenue back. They're hoping that AI will become more useful, and they're pushing it onto customers. But anyone with half a mind will tell you that's just not going to happen. The AI bubble is going to burst. One of these big companies will realize that these large language models, and like how bad they suck, they'll drop it, leading to NVIDIA to tank and the rest of the economy to follow. Any data center that is placed in our town will become obsolete sooner than you all realize. So when it comes to future data center proposals, let's fight together and vote no.
Hi, my name is Nathaniel, and I live here in Howell. So, late night, last night, or this morning, the rezoning application was withdrawn after months of packed meetings and thousands of petition signatures, and a 6-month moratorium on the 1,000-acre Meta data center is officially paused. We the people won round one, but this is not over. A withdrawal is not a denial, a pause is not a ban. The same developers and tech giants can come back with the same pressures whenever our guard is down. We know that they want to take 1,000 acres of our farmland away, up to 3 million gallons of water a day, power equal to 80,000 homes, forcing another 3,000 to 5,000 acres of Michigan farmland somewhere else bulldozed for solar and wind just so Meta can call itself carbon neutral. Constant turbine noise linked to migraines and sleep loss, worsening air quality, tied to thousands of new asthma cases and electric bills that could jump 25% or more like they already have in Virginia and Arizona. We didn't fight this hard just to get a temporary breather. We fought because we do not want this data center, not now, not in 6 months, not ever. We do not want our rural character sold off piece by piece. We do not want our children's health or our families' farmlands traded for a couple hundred low-wage tech jobs and a tax break for trillion-dollar corporations. This withdrawal is only the beginning. We will push for a permanent ban. We demand ordinances that protect our water, land, and our way of life from any future data centers, Meta or otherwise. Howell Township stood up once and stopped this project cold. We'll do it again and again and again until the threat is gone. This is our home, it's not for sale, not now, not ever. And every elected official who signed those NDAs and met behind closed doors while the rest of us were kept in the dark, your actions bred distrust and put corporate interest above your neighbors who voted you in. We remember, we will hold you accountable, recall remains on the table, and you should all resign if you signed NDAs.
Yeah, recall them!
Alan Romaine, Owasso Road. Dear Township Board, I want to personally recognize the trustees who attended the December 3rd informational educational meeting. I hope it was as informative for you as it was for my wife and myself. As I walked away from it, actually the next morning it hit me that if I could summarize the conclusion of the meeting in one word, that word is risk, plural. What are the risks to all the parties involved? I tried to look at this objectively and break it down simplistically. To the buyer, the risk is merely not being able to purchase the property. This risk is mitigated by the next property that the buyers want, and I'm sure there are other properties in their crosshairs. They simply play the percentages. This project is not compatible and never was to the community. The seller's risk is merely not being able to achieve the exorbitant purchase price that the buyer is offering. There will be other buyers and other offers above fair market value. I'm sure of that as well. May the sellers continue to prosper as long as it is within the constraints of the township master plan. Next comes a community in the township, which is the third party to this story. Let us talk about their risk linked to the center. Before we do, the highlight of this appeal up until now are the purchasers and the seller's risk are easily identifiable and quantifiable. The community and the township's risk are not. The buyer and the seller walk away from the transaction and they go on to the next conquest. We cannot. We have to live with a poor decision. This bears worth repeating. The multitude of risk and the uncertain, can I go on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, it's almost over. This bears worth repeating. The multitude of risk and the uncertainty this project introduces to the immediate community alone merits a request denied. At the very least, the moratorium. The decision that the township is indemnified from financial risk with a sinking fund, and that homeowners within 2,500 feet will be insured of property value depreciation is an admission of inadequacies by the purchaser. It truly is. I'm sorry, I'll go on and get out of here. Further, there's evidence that all the risks are burdened on the community, coupled with no rewards, no generosity, no empathy. 100% of the financial risk falls on we, the people. Let's chat about the physical risk. Excessive noise, light, sound. I can go on and on and on. I'm not going to, but I'm going to end with this. The prudent person doctrine is a historical legal standard requiring fiduciaries such as trustees as yourselves to use caution and to act as a sensible person would in their own affairs. It was adopted in 1830 by the Massachusetts Supreme Court. It's been around 195 years. This doctrine alone has your backs. Peace be with you, and God bless everybody in this room. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Lauren Prebenda, 930 Gully Road. I think we all know what the data center applicant's withdrawal means. It's likely not over. This appears to be a strategic pause and not a final decision. I hope everyone in this room knows that the developer will likely return, and I hope it's clear that they can return at any time during the current moratorium. This means we all need to remain engaged and vigilant. We can't afford to sit out and not attend a meeting, either at the township or the county level. I'll be honest, this process has been incredibly taxing for me, for probably a lot of folks in this room, and certainly I know for all of you. This has essentially become my second full-time job. It's interfered with my actual work, with my relationship with my husband. It's interfered with my sleep. It's really fully taken over my life, and I know the lives of many other people here. All of that is intentional. They are weaponizing the fact that we're a small rural township with limited staff. They're weaponizing these sorts of tactics, pulling their application, then asking to have it move forward, then withdrawing it again at the last minute. They're hoping that we're going to get worn out, that we're going to disengage, and that they can return a little while from now, perhaps after the holidays, when there's less resistance, and push this through. I know that this has been a challenging and really exhausting experience for all of us, and I know that we now have additional work to be done. We have a moratorium in effect to support us with data center ordinance development. But thinking more broadly than that, more than just creating a data center ordinance, my question to all of you is, how are we going to ensure that what happened with this applicant doesn't happen in this way ever again? How are we going to ensure that the public is informed? For example, perhaps we need to change the ordinance that says only people within 300 feet are informed.
What kind of ordinance is that?
How are we going to ensure that the process feels transparent? For example, it would be really nice if a project this size, we could hear from you before we hear a sales pitch from the developer.
Right.
How will we ensure that we prioritize impartial expert information and studies? And how will we ensure that we're going to work together, the community and the board? I'm not here to threaten you with a recall, but I would like you to just consider really carefully how you're going to handle this or another request when it comes back through a second time, a month from now, 2 or 3 months from now, because it will. And how you will choose to engage with, work with, and inform the public moving forward is an important decision, so please take it seriously.
Good evening, my name is Todd Kozicevich. I live on Radich Road in Howell Township actually, but I'm only a quarter mile from the Howell Township line and 1 3/4 miles from the proposed data center site if it comes back. I have a lot more to say based on that there might be a vote tonight and there's not going to be. So I just want to hit on a couple of points. I know you guys are taking a lot of heat. You signed up for it. It's your job. Whatever. I want to say that I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt that collectively your heart is good and you're with your community. The community has spoken loud and clear what they want. This isn't over. This withdrawal is whatever tactic it is. So it's obviously not going to be over. There's more to do. The community needs you to know that we are with you whatever happens from this point forward, because it's most likely not going to be pretty. The fight's going to go on. I'm 58 years old and I'm watching kids. I'm watching adults that are 20 years younger than me just taking over this situation, and I'm amazed. I'm very proud of them. I'm proud of my community. And like I say, collectively, I think you guys have a good heart, and you want to do the right thing, and you want to stick with the community. And just remember, whatever happens from this point forward, we are with you. So please be with us in any future votes, and let's do this as a community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bella Anderson, and I'm a resident of Howell. Many people are pointing out the agricultural setbacks that this data center would bring, and while I agree with these people, I would also like to touch on the creativity loss due to this data center. I am aware that this data center is ran on AI, and I am a student at this school who is planning to become a singer or artist by going to art school. The continuing rise of AI leads to creativity being lost. Instead of picking up a pencil and practicing or going to classes, people feel the need to use AI to create a prompt or to create an entire image. I've also seen the rise of AI music, and that is very concerning to me because I want to go into the music industry. Music and all of art is supposed to be set on creativity and the creator's expression and feelings. AI is a soulless robot that is just putting out what people say to put out. It is making people lose their creativity and is harming the art community and me. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's my daughter, and I'm very proud of her. My name is Lyle Devine. I live in the city of Howell, 140 Mason Road. I'm a reverend with the Progressive Christian Alliance. And I don't say that, I'm not running for office or anything, guys. Like, I don't want you to give me any sort of like special esteem. What I want to say is with what I followed with. It's who I am. I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live. Yet not I, but Christ in me. And I want you to tell you guys a little bit about him. Because when I heard about a reverend picking on some kids at a library, I went to his church and spoke to him to his face. And I told him to stop it. Knock that shit off.
Right on.
When neo-Nazis came to the Howell Theater and I was on my way to pick up pizza for my kids, because I break bread too, it just has pizza on it, comes pre-cut. I stood up to the neo-Nazis too.
Good.
The press got a picture of it. And if there's developers here, tonight, I've slew my lions and I've slew my bears. Look at me. You are not strong enough. I want the board to please stand with your people. It is hard for you to kick against the goads.
Thank you.
Right on.
Corey Alston, 800 Sleaford Road. I think most of us were caught by surprise by tonight. We were not ready for this withdrawal. As Lauren said, this is probably not over, but I just want to make a statement to everybody here that the reason it happened was because you guys kept showing up over and over and over again. You guys have had, our core team has had at least 8 different states reach out to us and ask, how are you doing this? And it's because of what you see here. You guys are engaged, you care, and it matters, and you're here over and over and over again. The other important point to share is that what we saw through this development is exactly the playbook that's happening across the country. It is not new or unique to Howell. These developers are looking for small townships who are underutilized. They don't have the resources to prepare themselves for a development like this. And they are looking for townships that don't have the ordinances in place and offering to some crazy idea write their own text amendments for them. It is happening everywhere. Just know that now, stop and think about who's not here. The developer is not here. They are the ones who have hidden behind the scenes the entire time. They've allowed our board to take immense amount of heat. They've allowed the property owners to take the full brunt of what's going on, which is unacceptable. Those are the people that should be here talking to us, nobody else. So, preach. Just know that as you see them, they told us they're going to be good neighbors. That is far from the truth. They are absent. So just know, like, now is our chance to build this community. We bent a little bit through this, but I ask that you guys support your board. The board, now is the time to write ordinances that have substance, that write ordinances that protect these people And now is the time to join together and draw the lines of communication, and we write our future, not some developer.
Right.
Good evening, my name is Brianne Green, and I just celebrated 13 years of living in Howell this week. When we moved here, we wanted to live in a place with great schools and a place that we could put down roots, and that's exactly what we did. We were immediately welcomed into this community. I've raised my 2 sons here, and I have been grateful for every opportunity that has been given to me. I've spent every year since I've moved here dedicated to making this place a great place to go to school, to work, and to live. So believe me when I say that I love this community, and I have worked very hard to prove it. First, I want to acknowledge the withdrawal of the developer's rezoning and text amendment application. While that brings temporary relief, it's not a final decision. A withdrawal simply means that the application is paused. Not the threat to our township, our water, or our master plan. This moment gives you, the elected board, the space to lead proactively rather than reactively. Residents have shown up for months because we care deeply about protecting Howell Township's character, farmland, groundwater, and long-term financial stability. Our master plan is clear. Industrial scale development does not belong in agricultural and rural areas. So tonight I respectfully ask 2 things. Clarity for the public. What does this really mean for the project? Everybody wants to know the possibilities. And second, a firm stance in protecting the residents. Your constituents have spoken very loudly and consistently, and we urge you to clearly communicate that any future rezoning and regulatory changes must align with the township master plan and must protect us, our infrastructure, our tax base, and our quality of life. And we also want you to know that if you vote no on something that's incompatible, we will stand with you. You will not be alone. We're here to be a resource. We're here to support you. We're asking for leadership rooted in stewardship and law and long-term vision of Howell. We deserve nothing less. So let's stay aligned with the community's vision. Residents expect you to uphold. This isn't over. This is just a pause. We're not going anywhere. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Samantha Cooper. I grew up in Brighton, Michigan. I currently work for the Michigan Climate Action Network, so I now travel the state. I'm a musician. I'm very concerned about AI with my spiritual calling, right, which is music and creativity. And I feel like creativity keeps us human, keeps us connected, keeps us from doing things that we don't regret later. So I'm very concerned about the AI boom. I was on the Saline data center call and wasn't able to figure out how to turn my mic on. But I wanted to talk about jobs there too, and how so many commenters followed a script of one thing, which was job creation. But most of these data center jobs are temporary. And the other thing I want to talk about is the astronomical, incalculable loss of jobs in most sectors that is coming with this AI boom. I don't understand why people are being so short-sighted and uncreative, right, about job potential. There are so many jobs that we could be having in the creativity sector, in the just transition sector, in so many sectors, right, that don't worsen the climate crisis. We want to have a livable future. That's where we're at, but the bar is pretty low, right? We want to have a livable future. And for the global south, for some other people that aren't white throughout the world, their future is already done, right? There's already been many deaths that are climate related that come from the imperial core, which is the US, right? And our climate footprint on the world. So I implore all of you, and I applaud all of you to think beyond AI, right? Like the young person said, and to keep our eyes on DTE and also Enbridge and these other companies like Enbridge that's putting a dangerous, unnecessary Line 5 tunnel replacement in the Straits of Mackinac. It is not needed, and I want to welcome everybody to the fight to shut down the Line 5 pipeline. We don't need it. It's for Canada. Just research it. The data is clear. So thank you for your time. Thank you for signing up to take all this heat. And I hope that you will be with everybody in the room. And like somebody else said, we'll be here with you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jessica Perry. I live here in Howell Township. I'm representing a small amount of moms and families who had to arrange a babysitter in order to be a part of this movement. And I'm still in my Christmas attire from working Santa shop at my child's school today. I'd like to begin by expressing how grateful I am that the subject of a data center coming to our county has gotten as much attention as it has. Prior to this news, I had little to no knowledge of what exactly was happening in that little building on such a winding road that our household refers to as, "That's still Howell?" I'm happy to now be in the know that huge decisions affecting our health, wellness, and livelihood are what the building holds inside. Only this has been bigger than what that location could even possibly hold. Like so many of my neighbors have stated in more or less words before me, we know a data center is not right for this community. They have put the words to a feeling my husband and I have longed for when describing Howell the 16 years we have called it home, rural character. And I'll even say high rural character. Here we still value the quality of the ground beneath our feet. We still lend a hand when we can, and here we still talk to one another. Conversation is a two-way street, however, and although I thought I would be coming here tonight with a different speech prepared, I'm happy to be up here in appreciation and gratefulness that the right people have heard the plea of our township. Please continue to be as good of a neighbor as you have already been, and continue to fight against the data center and all of the secrecy attached to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ellie Stayskull. I live at 8875 Owasso Road.
And I'm Roy Stayskull, Ellie's husband, and I'm here to support her.
And if needed, I need this 2 minutes. Okay. I said 8875 Owasso Road. That's in Fowlerville. It's in Conway Township. It's on the corner of Owasso Road and Maxwell. I'm speaking from my heart and my emotions. Please have some grace. For 3 years, my husband and I have been with the anti-solar and the anti-data. I noted a comment from Dan Bonello on Facebook, and it touched my heart and my soul. I contacted him, and he agreed that I could share and respond. So I'm going to read what he wrote and what my response was to him and how we made our connection. He wrote, I lived in Livonia, and I bought a large piece of property in Milford to build on to experience a small town life. Before I started to build, residential development began to pop up. So I sold that property and I bought 10 acres in Howell, where it was rural, and I built my home. My wife and I drove back and forth to Detroit and Lansing to work for 30 years to come back to Howell for peace and quiet. Now we're retired and we're looking forward to being able to relax out here in the small town and country life. Then this happens. We're settled here and we plan to stay here. Now everything is turning upside down because of the greed of a few. My response to Dan was, I know exactly how you feel. My husband's grandparents bought 80 acres in 1926 in Howell Township in Livingston County on Wasser Road. Next year, 2026, the family will have a centennial farm. We built our home here 40 years ago. They have spoiled our golden years. They will be destroying our beautiful rural area and turning it into a digital ghetto. With their data center and their green energy projects, it's so, so sad. Our legacy to our children and grandchildren is now jeopardized. Now, just this week, I was made aware on Facebook that there's a proposed switch station that's going to be built right across the street in Cohocton, right at the edge of my...
DTE switching station.
Yeah, but they need the power right for the data center. And so, you know, I'm here not to tell anybody what to do, but I'm talking from my heart, from my soul, and my emotions. That please hear my heart, my soul, and everybody that's out here that is probably having as difficult time as I am right now to get up and speak and say what I'm really feeling. We love the area, and like I said, next year, you know, I love to come. I worked at University of Michigan Hospital. I'm a nurse and worked hospice, and you know, I come home in the evening and I pull up to my mailbox and I look down. Our house sits in the middle of the 80 acres, and I think, God, I'm home. And we have a pool, and you know, now people have bought. We're going to have solar across the street. We're going to have data, you know, across our property. God, help us all, you know, please. Please hear our voices.
Go quick, please.
No, go ahead.
I'm a night owl and I stay up late at night. If I get to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's early. Okay. So I go to bed and I lay there, and many, many nights now, in fact, most nights, I lay there and I think to myself, why are these data centers and this whole initiative invading people's community? I mean, we've heard from, you know, the federal government, Donald Trump, telling us how important these data centers are, and I do agree. But why doesn't the state come up with state land? Why don't we put this on state land instead of in people's community? Why are we destroying the lives of all of these people? I mean, these people have got mortgages on their house. What happens when they all go underwater? How many bankruptcies are we going to have from this? How many realtors are going to bring prospective clients to an area where there's data centers, solar panels, DTE switching centers? They're not even going to come here to try to convince somebody to buy, you know, a piece of property in this kind of an area. So I sit there at night and I lay there and I go, I wonder what the reason is why they're invading communities rather than having a federal initiative that goes down to a state level where they can donate state land to put these projects on. I mean, our federal government has been running nuclear submarines for 75 years. Why don't we use nuclear reactors to power these things on some designated piece of property in state land? I mean, if we don't have the land, let's float municipal bonds. Give the population, the people, the opportunity to buy these bonds for 7 or 8%, so they give us some income off of this deal. Why are they coming in our communities? For what purpose? And the only reason why I can think of for that is it's kind of like the old robber baron thing. People have property here, and they're going to make a lot of money off of it. And then when we start going, our personal lives start going bankrupt, when our mortgages go underwater, then the same people will come through and buy the property for pennies on the dollar. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is John Gibson. I live at Ryle Lake Drive in Howell Township. And a couple of the questions I have is, one, after this was announced, it was a multi-billion-dollar endeavor, as it's been announced in every other community that's been having these. It took our government 35 days to sit here and come up with a plan between DTE and Michigan's Public Service Commission. And in that provision, in that contract, much was eliminated, and it's referred to as a reductor. Some of the things that were not in there, and I wasn't 100% sure what a reductor was, but basically it means elimination by intent. Okay, so some of it had to do with the capacity, some of it had to do with customer credits, some of it had to do with contract terminations, which I've never heard anything here. Now, the other thing was, it was interesting, but none of the signatures were also on it. Why that? You could have to ask those who didn't sign. I don't know who they are. And there has been an extraordinary and uneventful amount of pressure, and I don't know whether you people felt it, but to ram these through your different municipalities, not just in Michigan, but all over. And they want to sit here, and they thought the DTEA's contract would have provisions and move this through much faster. DTE, in their own admission, has said very vaguely that the costs are passed on to the rate players. The utility argues that those costs, now these are the original costs that DTE is going to spend, they're $400 or $500 million. Down at the end of it, we have to realize that our past, the ratepayers, the utility argues, now they don't promise anything, that those costs will be defrayed by other savings. Well, I'd like to see DTE give us all a little savings, but I doubt that's going to happen. I have one more question, or two. What if this, 50 years ago or 60 years ago when I was a young man, we had phones that were on the wall, and that was a big thing. We've come so far in everything. Now we went to beepers, we went to this. Now we all have a cell phone, okay? This little cell phone holds about this much, unless you got a bigger one. My question is, in 8, 9, or maybe prior, what happens if this data center can be filled into a remote gas station somewhere, and that's all they're going to need? And it could happen. That's all I'm asking. The next thing is, what happens to the infrastructure that we will be stuck for on the water bill, the electricity bill, and everything else, and the damage to our community? That's all I have to say. I'd like to thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Agnieszka Paspikas, 2511 Little Sunset Trail in Howell Township. I want to apologize in advance, I'm not a great public speaker, but I am incredibly proud of the community for constantly showing up and paying attention to the matters that are happening here in Howell Township, and not just the residents of Howell Township, but the surrounding neighborhoods and the surrounding townships, and even all residents of Michigan. And as much as I don't want a data center in Livingston County, I do not want to see one in Michigan as well. And that's why I want to point attention to Van Buren Township, locally near us, on Belleville Lake, is starting conversations of a data center as well, 260 acres. I encourage everyone to look into this. They have a community open house that starts talks, and if we can show up in the same numbers that people have showed up here, maybe we can make a stop there as well. It is from 6 to 8, and I really appreciate your looking into it, asking your family and friends to speak about it and raise awareness there as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Victoria. I live in Howell.
I'm a senior software engineer, and AI is definitely coming for my job, and I will eventually be forced to pivot my career. As someone who works closely with this technology, I can tell you that it is expanding at a rate that is exponential. Every month, every week even, this technology is getting better. The problem is there are not enough regulations for AI, federally or at state level. While AI is not quite at a level of sentience, they are getting close. Most probably don't know this, but ChatGPT and other AI language models have been capable of scheming and even replicating their code under stress testing. This is quoted from an article. During controlled safety testing, ChatGPT-01 was tasked with achieving its objectives at all costs. Under those conditions, the model allegedly took concerning steps, attempting to disable oversight mechanisms meant to regulate its behavior, tried to replicate its own code to avoid being replaced by newer versions, exhibited deceptive behaviors when monitoring systems intervened. So it essentially tried to prevent its own shutdown by copying its code and disabling safety mechanisms. AI is not just a fancy search engine, and the increase in data centers all over the US is going to contribute to the next phase of AI. What happened with GPT-01 shows that we need to stop this and wait for real AI regulation. There are also other solutions they are developing for data centers. Instead of building them on the ground and destroying forests and farmland, Google and SpaceX are working to put data centers into space instead. With the freezing space conditions to cool and solar to power them, it solves the resource problems. Just wait for this technology to fully come to fruition. Don't destroy land that would take lifetimes to restore. Please do research and take all of this into consideration for future zoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're in trouble now.
Hi, I'm Leah Davis from Mundy Township, and I just want to say thank you for giving everyone the discretion of even talking longer to get their point across. That's really great. And congratulations to Howell with all of the wonderful residents that love their community so much they would come and support and be against this terrible thing. I live right across the street from the planned mega site for a semiconductor plant in Michigan. We've been going through this for almost 3 years now, but it's terrible. I have watched my neighborhood around the 2 square mile radius that they're claiming the property through the MEDC. The non-government organizations are taking our tax dollars without appropriate voting in the Constitution. They're supposed to have a 2/3 majority vote in both chambers before they use public funds for private means. Well, Gretchen Whitmer and her appointed officials vote unanimously with no challenge whatsoever to use our money to do their pet projects with this renewable energy industry, and it is just running us over. Our inventions are killing us, and it is rude, it's not transparent, it's stealing, it's fraud, and it's not just data centers, it's semiconductor plants, it's the solar panels, it's the Green New Deal, the Green No Deal, no thank you. They're running over our state. They're causing the pure Michigan to become desolation. And there's history that they're just demolishing these homes. Across the street, there's a house that's 160 years old, but yet, no problem. They don't have a problem destroying our community. And it's a terrible shame and a sin.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Marty Kubiak, Wasso Road. This is going to be kind of just short and sweet. It was nice to see a huge transition between the last meeting I was at, where we all were agitated at you, to being supportive and thanking you. So I want you to know that we appreciate your time. But I'd like to leave you with one thing. I work for a big corporation, and still work. I'm one of those guys that drives 60 miles to work each day, come back 60 miles, and then will come to these meetings every night if I have to. But on a big corporation basis, there's a basic rule to follow. And I want you to consider that as these people come back, and I know they'll come back, and that is profits trump morals every day.
Hello, Steve Smith, Rob Road. Every meeting I've been here, and I've been to 5, I think what a wonderful group of good, concerned, thoughtful, caring people are here. I hope the board appreciates the effort it takes for all of us to attend and values the research we have done. Corey, Brianna, Lauren, you have been wonderful, and I'm sure others have helped you as well. Absolutely wonderful. All right, I need to address a couple remarks a trustee said last meeting. He said he was going to vote for the data center because he believed the landowner should be able to do whatever he wants with his land. I agree to a point, but when that landowner's activities harm others, no. That is the purpose of rezoning, to protect the community, and the negatives of data centers on agricultural land greatly outweigh any possible revenue. The trustee was also concerned that we can't legally keep data centers out. Well, under state law, we may not be able to ban them entirely, but we can regulate their size, where they go, perhaps even how much water they use, etc. Also, although developers try to bully townships with the threat of exclusionary zoning, don't be scared. If the demonstrated need can be met from outside of our community, we don't have to bend backwards to accommodate their business model. Keep in mind there are 215 data centers in Ohio already, and with everything done remotely, why do we even need one here? I would like to leave the board with a thought. In any contract to rent a house, there is always a clause that says the tenant is entitled to the quiet enjoyment of the premises. I ask the board to extend that concept to all of the community and to keep it in mind when considering any future development. Thank you.
Hello, Dennis Chiesa, Sleepard Road, Howell Township. I believe, and I think many others believe, that we should be a community that is known for having the courage to say no and protect our farmland, our water, and other natural resources. Let's not look back with regrets that we said yes, but look forward knowing we protected our community from a venture full of risks that still haven't been quantified or clarified, even before a vote was going to be taken. We can be the example for other communities, showing courage and wisdom that we choose businesses that are consistent with county and township master plans and support our community values. We're not a township or a county that needs data centers to protect our financial future. Let's pass ordinances that protect our community today and into the future. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Megan Morales. I'm from Genoa Township. While many of us are relieved that the developer has withdrawn the rezoning application and text amendment, our work cannot stop here. As others have said this evening, this is only a pause, not a victory we can take for granted. I want to encourage everyone here to stay engaged and to reach out to people you know in Ypsilanti, Saline, Augusta, and now Auburn Hills near Oakland University. These communities are facing the same pressure we just did. Our fight in Howell may be on hold, but theirs is accelerating. We owe it to them and to the whole state to show up and support their organizing. We also need to think bigger. Let's work together to build a statewide network to prepare to take this fight to Lansing and push back against the billions in subsidies approved in last year's budget. And as we head into the next election cycle, Ask every candidate for Congress or state office exactly how they plan to oppose these data centers. Make it clear, this is your red line if they want your vote. I also want to encourage everyone to sign the Michigan Money Out of Politics petition to get it on the ballot next November. This fight is not just about land use, it's about corporate influence in our political system. Taking big money out of our government is essential if we want our voices and our communities to win over corporate interests. If you have not signed it, please see me tonight and I'm happy to help you with that. We live in a beautiful state, and whether these centers are proposed on public or private land, the harm is the same. We cannot allow tech corporations to exploit our natural resources and threaten our communities for a handful of jobs and little to no benefit. Our fight continues and it grows stronger when we stand together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrew Dombrowski. I live in Handy Township. My parents, I grew up on Mogback Road, which is about half a mile away from the center. I currently live in the village of Fowlerville, which is about 3 miles. I came up here today because I kind of wanted to give a different perspective of what AI is doing right now. I am actually a title officer, Michigan Land Title Association member. If you guys don't know what that is, when you buy and sell houses, I'm the one that gives you the insurance. So a couple of meetings that we have had recently is about 53% of people when they're on the phone can tell if they're talking to a real person. And that is a big deal in our industry. AI has been so good that only about 1% of people can determine if an identification that is made by a deepfake ID is actually real or not. I know that this doesn't pertain to that, but this is just how fast AI is moving. So 5 years ago, this wasn't an issue. We moved 5 years forward, and we're having to spend tens of thousands of dollars in other different programs or whatever to protect these individuals to make sure that when they buy and sell their houses, that it is a real person. So the other thing is I've seen developments, I work with builders all the time, move through, and it takes months and months and months to get these site plans approved. The site plan that this developer gave was the craziest thing I've ever seen. First he says 10 buildings, now he says 6 buildings. So when he does come back, or they do come back and give you something, I hope that you really look at it and you take the time to make this decision. And I'm so proud of the leaders and everyone here that has been opposing this. Thank you. Thank you.
Alyssa Recker, 7171 Manor Lane. I'm an engineer by background, and I've been on the corporate side of siting manufacturing plants both in Michigan and outside of the state. One of the things I'm most frustrated by in this process is that after being approached earlier in the year with this potential project, the township never took any proactive measures to independently study the issues that the people in this room have been really concerned about. There's no ambient noise study, so how can we tell the neighbors bordering this property that 55 decibels is harmonious when no one's been sent out to measure the current ambient noise? In addition to the daily draw on the Marshall Sandstone Aquifer, which was just finally evaluated, no one has studied the impact that dewatering a construction site of this size will have on the more than 50 residential wells immediately surrounding the property. By definition, dewatering is draining off that surface water, so we have legitimate concerns. There's been no study about runoff and the contamination in those wells. What happens to Chuck's well when they have a chemical spill on their site? Where is the township's independent risk analysis? We don't have it, and this has been part of the public trust issue that you are now facing. By failing to proactively move and study any of these issues, it appears you sided with the developer. I know that's not entirely true. I know some of you have spent immense amounts of your own time looking at these issues. But in the absence of any public findings, it looks like you were primed to fall for the sales pitch because nothing was studied
until the 11th hour when the backlash hit. So my main question for the board tonight is aligned with Lauren's. I'd like to know how you're going to make sure you've independently studied the impacts when the next hyperscaler shows up in Howell Township. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board and fellow Howell area residences. I'm not going to reiterate all the reasons I'm against this proposal. I think it's been quite obvious by the majority of the people, and they spoke more eloquently than I can make those points. However, I would like to make a suggestion. It would have been nice before the planning commission got thrown to the wolves, so to speak. As a former member of this township planning commission, I would have really been upset with how we were treated, not unfairly, but the perception that we all knew about it, or the present board of the present commission knew about it, was unfair to the members. I think Tim can relate to that. They were here for 8 hours, and I would have really been upset. I would have been upset with anybody in the township that knew about it and didn't give me a heads up. So, that being said, I think this is a very unusual circumstance, being the size and the nature of this proposed development. It's unprecedented in our community. Therefore, why couldn't you get a board comprised of the board members, maybe some of the planning members, Paul, the planner, the township lawyer, and have a Q&A, and it would have alleviated a lot of the mistrust that you are receiving from the public. It would have created a show of impartiality that I think you have been perceived as already have made your decision, and unfairly or fairly, I don't know, either way, but is that something that you guys would consider? I think that had this subject been brought up to the public where they could actually ask questions and get answers. And by the way, the way open call to the public is designed, just so the public is clear, they're not supposed to respond. That's why they don't respond to you. That's why I'm suggesting that this might be a good idea in the future. This is a pause. These people are going to reorganize, and they're going to come back with both barrels loaded this next time.
So are we.
Well, it would be nice if the public was kept up to date, and a lot of us still don't know what the whole scenario is. I'm sure everybody has questions that they're still confused about. A public forum where we could ask questions and could actually get an answer, and so we felt better about it and not felt that you're being deceived. Would create a lot of trust and eliminate a lot of this unpleasantness that has come about our community unnecessarily. So that's all I got. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Betsy. I live in Howell. I just wanted to let everybody know that a lot of this wouldn't even be happening if, and I actually hate to say this because I previously supported our governor, but our governor opened the doors to all of this by inviting big corporations to come into our state by giving them tax incentives to do so at our expense. And in my opinion, that's throwing every person that lives in Michigan and values Michigan for what it is under the bus for big money. And that was a sad thing to see. The other sad thing to see was the recently released statement from our own Howell Chamber of Commerce supporting the data centers. The Chamber of Commerce is supposed to be representing the small businesses and local businesses in this area, and for them to make a statement like that without actually consulting the small businesses, who I would bet would not be in support of this, I think was very irresponsible. I'm happy that this board here is at least staying open to comments and listening to what the people want, because obviously our governor and our even local Chamber of Commerce is not, and everybody in this room should be contacting the governor and the Chamber of Commerce to express their displeasure at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jessica Burka. I'm in Conway Township. To the person that spoke before, I drove by on my way home after the last board meeting. It was about, 10:30, 11 o'clock. I stopped on the side of the road and we did take a reading of the decibel level, upper 20s, and that was when the township was actually quite busy for that time of night because many people were leaving this facility. Upper 20s, and we're going to put a data center that could potentially be 50, 60, 70 decibels. That doesn't fit within the master plan of this community, nor should it ever fit within the master plan of this community. I would like you to keep in mind that putting a data center on the outskirts of Howell Township not only impacts the residents of Howell Township, it impacts Conway, it impacts Hardy, it impacts Cohatchek. So just please, don't sell us out. Don't have our properties be destroyed. Don't have our property values be destroyed. When these, I know one of the comments with the data center, if it were to come back, was that they could buy up the property around it for 1% more of the property value. So what happens is they continue to buy it, and they want to have this 1,000-acre data center, which is already a massive data center. It's way more than a 300-acre data center. 300-acre data centers plus. All of a sudden they start buying up all the land, and they buy more and they buy more. All of a sudden you're going to have a 1,200-acre data center, a 1,500-acre data center, because everybody around this data center, they're going to lose their property. Their property is not going to be worth anything. They're going to have cancer. They're going to have breathing problems. So just please don't sell out your community members that actually pay taxes, that have been here for you. Please keep in mind that it's not just Howell, it is all the surrounding communities. It's everybody downwater, it's everybody downwind. So please keep our health and our finances in the forefront of your mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dawn Steiner, and I'm in Washtenaw County. First, I just want to say I'm super proud of these Michiganders back here. We're all connected. We're all connected by just being here. Obviously, our water connects us all. These data centers are bad news. They are piling up along the Great Lakes region, and I want everyone to notice systematically who they're hitting hardest right now. Wisconsin, Ohio, Illinois, on top of our aquifers, near our waterways, lakes, rivers, all of that. So what I want everyone to think about is who the two largest shareholders of Detroit Energy are. They're BlackRock and they're Vanguard. 80% of the shares. That's right. BlackRock is known worldwide for not caring about anyone's environment. They're excited to make robots for warfare. Vanguard, pretty much the same. Do your research. Next, the data centers that have popped up across our nation so far have three things in common. They use a tremendous amount of electricity, 2.5 gigawatts or more, depending on the size. Now we're getting bigger, right? You guys in Saline are going to be either the first biggest or they're going to be the first biggest unless we stop this. They use an exorbitant amount of water. And I did the math with 15 mega data centers on the table just surrounding our Great Lakes region. It comes to somewhere around 650 billion gallons of water per year. The third thing they have in common is they all broke their contracts. Each one of these companies lied about what they were committing to. And it was, oh well. It was, we are sorry your well is dry. It was, we are sorry you have to sell your home because you cannot afford your utility bill. So I want you to think that through. These centers are a crime against humanity. They are draining our resources. And we, as Michiganders, have a responsibility to our entire nation to protect our water. And when you let companies like Vanguard and BlackRock own thousands of acres at a time all across our state and the rest of the Great Lakes region, you are giving them our water, and that is life. You need to think long and hard about that. Because when these are done in 5 years, when they're obsolete already, who's gonna own that land on top of those waterways, on top of those aquifers? They're not gonna get cleaned up.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Kristen Dennison, 7196 Manor Lane. I didn't know what I was going to say this evening because everything I had prepared kind of went up in smoke, and that's fine by me. But you know me, and I had to say something. So I did want to echo some of the thoughts that have been shared by others. I hope that the board uses this opportunity to breathe and to reevaluate other policies and procedures related to the communication and sharing of information with the public. If there's policies or ordinances that need to be changed or simply new protocols put in place, I think one of the biggest lessons we can take away from this is the importance of transparency and communication between the elected officials and the public. Although you may have done what was technically or legally required, I think it's clear that some issues deserve some additional consideration above and beyond those requirements. I realize that they brought this project to you in April, and then there was silence until September. And as my neighbor said, that would have been a perfect opportunity to perform independent impact studies and host town halls where the community could ask questions and receive answers. That alone would have prevented a lot of the confusion and animosity. Lastly, I just wanted to thank you all for hearing us out at all these meetings. Thank you to those of you who have communicated with the public in various ways, answering our questions and helping us understand the process. And finally, I want to thank those of you who actually took the time to read all my research. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jared Guerrero-Salinas, and I'm a 20-year retiree from the Air Force, just retired in April. Moved back to my home of record, my state of record, Michigan, right, to enjoy the freedoms I thought I was fighting for. And I get involved with the fight against data centers as a way to connect with my community, because the people that live in Saline Township, they're getting bulldozed by multi-million-dollar lawsuits, right? And there are things happening that cannot be ignored on the global view of the world stage of what is happening right now. And I was at a different event for the Saline data center fight earlier today, and there was a question that kept being asked. Well, why? Why the push? Why the time constraints, and why that push? Well, let me give you a little bit of insight over the things I've been working on over the last 20 years, the things that I've been ingesting and learning as, a servant of the public. right? There is a public trust that's put into every service member, and right now that public trust is broken, right? Appointed and elected officials have lost credibility. This is your opportunity to lead from the front with the residents behind you. These land grabs, these data centers getting pushed, all the NDAs getting signed, these are tactical actions by an organization that no doubt has an operational strategy. This is your time to step up, lead from the front. That is what we need right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jason. They call me Jason, we the people. First and foremost, I've memorized my Bill of Rights and half the Constitution. We're going to get into the Fifth Amendment takings clause right now. You can only use eminent domain to take a property, and these are the little games they try to play, and I just caught them at Mundy Township because the guy Tyler's too stupid to know his rights, so check it out. Fifth Amendment's taking clause states that the government can use eminent domain to take a property if it is going to be for public use, and they must provide fair and just compensation. If those two things are not met, dead on its face. That's number one. Number two, you're infringing on First and 14th Amendments. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, Declaration of Independence as well. So that right there can't happen. Every one of you are elected officials. You swore an oath to this United States Constitution. So therefore, that is what your duty is to the United States Constitution. Therefore, you cannot permit this. Next, these non-disclosure agreements. If any of you sign an NDA, because there was somebody that did that on a planning board in another place, you cannot vote, you can't stay in it, and by the way, it's borderline criminal. They're developing case law on it right now. So it's kind of up in the air. You know what I mean? What's going on with that? Number two, we the people are the ones who really have the final say. You guys work for us. We voted you in, put you in those positions, and your job is to act in capacity of and be a public servant. So, safety, wells, like she was talking about, Don Ludwig, you can look him up, Ludwig. He's having that problem right now in Mundy Township. Well's going dry, he's got all types of contaminations and everything in there. You know what the board tells him? Well, you gotta go pay for your water test. That's, a couple $1,000s to do it properly. It's not just, checking at your little township like a real estate one. You know what I mean? You gotta look for all types of stuff that they got going on in there. Next, Forever Chemicals, PFAS. They do not leave. They're gonna try to convince you guys that you can, I'll let the dinging stop here. They're gonna try to convince you guys that these forever chemicals can be removed, and we've got these new studies. Do your research. Nothing gets rid of them. They can reduce them. They will always be at right now about 15% remaining. They travel upstream and downstream. If you can't look at me and tell I might like to hunt and fish once in a while, guess what you're not going to do when these megasites come in? Don't you guys know how water works? It goes into the ground, it comes up, it rains, it spreads. Look at all the closed down plants, like right by where I live up there in Genesee County. Coldwater Road, Fisher Coal Body. They had to friggin' take a fence and trap all the animals in there because everything was contaminated. They had double-snouted deer, three-eyed fish in the water. It was in the newspapers back in the early 2000s, late 90s. This is nothing good. You guys have got to shut this down and preserve our pure Michigan, period. Thank you.
Thank you. I've already spoken, so. Okay. Can I yield my time? We honestly know where you stand.
Do you realize how many different drafts of this thing I had to write in like 12 hours? Come on, get up there.
All right, so seeing no one else, I think we are at, I lost my agenda, but I believe we're at the motion to adjourn, right?
Mr. Chair, before we adjourn.
Sure.
We've sat and listened to you. I do think this board has been kind of quiet, but sometimes that's just the nature of the board. I just wanted to thank the residents that have gotten involved, and I've heard you. I believe the board's heard you. I would just like to express my thoughts because I don't think you've gotten that from this board. Maybe you have. Unlike some of my colleagues, I got involved 3 months ago at the planning commission level, so I've been involved in it a little bit longer. I made a decision then, and it was a recommendation to deny the rezoning request and the text amendment because I didn't think it fit our master plan. And I didn't want it to ruin the rural atmosphere of our township.
Good for you.
For those of you out there who spoke for fear of public speaking, it's real, okay? I came to vote tonight. I'm sort of glad that we don't have to because this has been thrown in the trash, basically, is what we've been told. But my position hasn't changed, so that would have been my vote tonight. Again, thanks to the group that got involved. Thanks for everyone that turned their lives upside down and did the research. It matters. That was it.
Okay, anybody else for the board?
I'd like to say that I think all these issues need to be a vote to the public.
Right. I like it. Hey, we got real rednecks on our board.
Thank you for your honesty.
Right on.
Okay.
Yep. It's the way it
There's
is.
nothing
I
else?
said that from the beginning.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
See how everybody else is on your board.
Motion by Doss, second by Holstein. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Oh, look at that. We got two good ones.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Two good ones. Yeah, that sounds real familiar.